Hello everyone, welcome back into Deacon's NFL Talk. I'm your host Deacon, and welcome back to another episode on the channel, episode 32. And today we have quite a bit of topics this week. I will try and get through them as quick as possible. Actually, I'm pretty sure that all of the topics that we have this week, are injuries except for one, or actually for two. So everything is an injury except for two topics. Then we have some quick hits, reactions, stardom, situm, question of the week, and that should sum up the episode. I cannot wait to get in this episode of Deacon's NFL Talk. All right, everybody, we're going to jump right into this. So, as always, we're going to start off with the first topic of the week. And this first topic was actually obviously something Browns fans have been waiting for. I want to say for it to happen this way. But Deshaun Watson will no longer be playing for the Cleveland Browns. Not because that he's been playing so poorly that the Browns decided to sit him, but Deshaun Watson suffered another injury with the Browns and is a season-ending Achilles injury he suffered against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 7 after they lost 21-14. Watson went down with a non-contact injury, which is the thing. Non-contact is like the worst type of injury that could possibly happen, like the worst way that it could happen. I mean, after the game, while Watson was being carted off, Browns fans were booing and cheering that Deshaun Watson was injured. And I mean, I don't care how bad the quarterback is. We're not doing that, okay? We're not going to boo and cheer because our quarterback, who is playing very poorly right now, is injured. I mean, how would it feel if I just saw you tear your Achilles and I started pointing and laughing at you? It's not a good feeling, and I don't even understand. The Browns fan base looks really bad after this. This is probably one of the worst fan bases I may have ever seen, and I've seen a lot. I mean, the Ravens are pretty trash talky. They're pretty trashy. Chiefs fans, I mean, as a Bengals fan, obviously, I'm gonna say I don't like their fan base. Now the Browns fan base makes the list, and I don't care if you're a Browns fan and you didn't do this. I don't care. You can't do this. I don't care how poorly he's been playing this year. This is why. I don't understand the point. I mean, after the game, though, Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett took a shot at Browns fans, which I would too. I mean, I don't care how poorly he plays. Like I said, I'm going to defend our quarterback. I don't understand why that Browns fans would do this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, after he was carted off, the unfortunate thing for the Browns is that Dorian Thompson-Robinson came in to replace him, but then he suffered a finger injury. But then eventually Jameis Winston filled in for the remainder of the game. It's going to be interesting to see if the Browns do something before the trade deadline on November 5th. We'll see what happens there. I would not be shocked if they picked up Ryan Tannehill or somebody like that. They're probably going to pick up somebody. I mean, I would assume. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, just horrible. Their fan base is horrible. I mean, Nick Chubb comes back, which was a huge moment in the not just for Cleveland, but in the NFL. And then you lose your quarterback, and then you just start booing and cheering that he's getting carted off. I don't care how, like I said, I'll say it again. I will stay here all day and say it again. I don't care how bad he is. We're not doing that. It's just doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. All right, second topic. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk tears ACL and his MCL and will miss the rest of 2024. It is possible that there may be more damage than just his ACL and MCL, which is the bad side of it. He was sandwiched. He was sandwiched in between two Kansas City defenders. Then walked off the field under his own power before being carted into the locker room. Not the ACL injuries. I feel are way too common, and I feel it's 100% one of the worst injuries you could have. I mean, you tear your ACL, you're done. Even if you like barely tear it, I feel like you're also gone. Like you're out for a long time. It's like one of the most significant injuries that there is, and you just hate to see Aiyuk like go down like that, and especially as big of a game as it was. I mean, the Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl rematch, the Chiefs ended up winning 28-18. I mean, not only that, but also Debo Samuel left like after the first drive because he had like water in his lungs or flu. I don't know what the problem was. But before the injury, Aiyuk generated 25 receptions for 374 yards and 0 touchdowns. After signing an extension and like holding out for this, I mean, I'm not blaming him for the injury. I'm blaming him for the stats he put up before the injury, like 25 receptions and 374 yards. Like Jamar Chase has had probably around as many as 374 yards this year. Probably in the Ravens game, honestly. I bet he had almost as many yards as Aiyuk had all year. And 0 touchdowns. Like when you pay Aiyuk as much money as you did, you can't be playing like that. I mean, some of it could be on Brock Purdy where he's not throwing him the ball. But like even if it's not, like there was one play where I watched in the Chiefs 49ers game, like a huge opportunity for the 49ers. Brock Purdy throws a dime and Aiyuk just drops the ball. It runs right through his hands, and like a missed opportunity, he probably would have had like a 20-some yard gain, and he dropped it. It went straight through his hands. So I mean, you've got to like, it just sucks. Like for a 49ers fan, I mean, you were Super Bowl favorites coming into this year. Everyone was saying you were gonna win the Super Bowl. Like you're one of the most likely teams to win the Super Bowl, and now look where you are. What, you're 3-4? They're completely failing expectations. And I'm not saying as a Bengals fan that we haven't either, 100% we have, but I mean, this year has been so strange. Like all these bad teams are coming up and being good, and then all these good teams are falling off, which doesn't make any sense, but it's the NFL. You never know. All right, third topic. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels week to week with a rib injury. He is actually listed as a game time decision for tomorrow's game against the Bears, which I hope that Daniels will play. Like if he doesn't, I think it's still gonna be a good game. I feel like the Bears would pull it out. Right now, I do have the Commanders winning this game. Like if they have Daniels, then I feel like the Commanders will be all over the Bears. After the injury, Daniels was listed as questionable to return to the game, but then he was seen on the sideline without his uniform. So I mean, it's insane. It's insane how good that Daniels has been playing this year. I mean, he's the first NFL player in NFL history to complete 75 of his passes, throw for 1,400 yards, and rush for 300 yards in their first 6 games of their career. So, I mean, like, he's been something special. He's definitely Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite. There's no doubt in my mind. So, I mean, when you have a guy like that go down, I feel like since he's a game-time decision, if he doesn't play next week, then I would 100% think that he'd be playing next week. But this is an important game, and I feel like this is the game that he needs to come in and play. I mean, yeah, the Bengals Commanders game that was the game he needed to play. He did. This game you're gonna have to play. I mean, you can rely on Marcus Mariota. Like, let's say the Commanders put Marcus Mariota as a starter, and then they have Jaden Daniels with his uniform on as a backup. That way, if it's needed and they're losing quite a bit, like or late in the game to try and come back or something, you can put him in. But that's just me. All right, fourth topic, Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf week to week with a grade 1 MCL sprain. Huge for the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks coming off a huge win against the Falcons. I mean, Metcalf was seen carted into the locker room after the injury, which is not what you want to hear. But Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald said the injury is believed to be minor. And in the span of 7 games, Metcalf caught 35 passes for 568 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, solid numbers for Metcalf this year. But yeah, hopefully he can return to the field pretty soon because the Seahawks are going to need him. I think, who do they play this week? I'm going to have to see who they play. I don't know. Like, since he's week to week, they play the Bills this week. You're going to need him. Next week is the Rams. You're going to need him. Then you have the 49ers. You're going to need him. Cardinals isn't as urgent. No, not Jets nor Cardinals. Packers, he'll be back by then. I would say next week he's going to return. Maybe this week, possibly. But if it's not this week, then it's probably next week. So I would say he probably misses the Bills game and then plays against the Rams in a week. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. I don't really know a whole bunch about that topic. Fifth topic, I believe. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa set to return on Sunday against the Cardinals. This is huge news for Dolphins fans that they've 100% been missing him. I mean, obviously, we all know that he suffered a concussion in week 2. Isn't that a surprise? Meaning it's taken him 6 weeks to recover. I mean, when you suffer as many concussions as he has, 3 in the last 2 years, you're going to sit out for a long time. I mean, like, it's been ridiculous. I honestly thought he should have retired. I think he still should. The funny part is that he's not going to wear a guardian cap, but he will wear a safer helmet, I've heard. If I'm Tua, I'm wearing a safer helmet and a guardian cap. I'm not even kidding. Like, doesn't matter how bad it looks. I mean, I don't like it either. But when you're Tua Tagovailoa, you gotta wear one. And if you don't, that's I would be shocked if at some point he didn't wear it at all this year. If he suffers another concussion this year, then I would either put the cap on and a safe helmet, or just retire. I'd call it quits, hang out the cleats or whatever. All right, Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans re-aggravates his hamstring injury. Not expected to return until after Tampa Bay's Week 11 bye. This was a horrible game for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers started off strong. I mean, if you weren't watching that game, they started pretty good. I mean, they scored a touchdown on their first drive to Mike Evans, who scored his 100th career touchdown. Then the defense goes out and holds the Ravens to like a 4th and 20-something. They get the ball back. They go back, almost score another touchdown, but Mike Evans drops it, and that's when he re-aggravated his injury. And since then, it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. I will say that. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay's schedule is not in their favor, though, because, I mean, I don't think this is in order, but Mike Evans is slated to miss the Falcons, Chiefs, and 49ers games. So, when we need a guy like Mike Evans, that's really unfortunate for them. And I feel like this injury was like super devastating, like not only for the Buccaneers but for Mike Evans, because I mean, like, he was battling. I mean, you could tell like he was gonna battle through the injury. I mean, when you have a hamstring injury on a receiver, it is one of the worst feelings ever. So when you have that kind of injury to a receiver, I mean, it's really hard to like play through a game, and the fact that he did for one drive is kind of crazy. But when Evans caught the 100 touchdown pass, he limped off the field very noticeably. I'm honestly kind of surprised he even remained in the game at that point. But yeah, hopefully Evans can recover quickly, because Buccaneers are going to need him for sure. I mean, I still think they have a good chance of winning the NFC South. Without Chris Godwin, though, obviously I'll get to that in a bit. It's going to be tough. So, all right, Saints running back Alvin Kamara agrees to a 2-year, $24.5 million deal with the Saints. Obviously, this is an extension. Kamara will remain with New Orleans through 2026, which is huge for the Saints. I mean, with all the injuries that they've had, this is obviously a huge plus for the Saints, and definitely signing of the week for the Saints throughout the NFL. I mean, through the first 7 games, Kamara recorded 690 all-purpose yards and 7 touchdowns throughout this year so far, and really good. I mean, with the injuries like Rashid Shaheed out for the year, Kirk Cousins, Chris Olave with like a concussion injury or something. Obviously, it's huge when you lose those 2 guys, so you have to rely on a guy like Alvin Kamara, which is what they did. They locked him in for another 2 years. This is the cool part, though. I thought this was pretty interesting, but apparently some Saints fans or something, I don't know who this was, but Kamara also receives free beer for life at a New Orleans bar, that's awesome. I mean, I wonder if they'll take it away from him if he gets traded or cut at some point. We'll see. I mean, but I thought that was super cool. I mean, I really liked what they did there. All right, second to last topic. Chiefs acquire wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans. This is probably the topic of the week. The league is cooked at this point. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what are the Titans doing? I mean, Brian Callahan, a former Bengals offensive coordinator, decided to help the Chiefs get better. Like, are you, serious right now? Like, it's just, as a Bengals fan, or maybe just NFL fans in general that aren't Chiefs fans, Like, what are we doing? Like, the Titans receive a conditional 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-rounder if he makes the Super Bowl. Like, DeAndre Hopkins is not worth a 5th or 4th-round pick. He's like, I would say 2nd or 3rd-round pick. And when you bring him to an offense like that, he should be worth a 1st-round pick. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to put up numbers that the Chiefs never had since Tyreek Hill. I mean, like, the Chiefs have injuries. I mean, you don't have Hollywood Brown. You lost Rashee Rice, arguably for the year, and Isaiah Pacheco for, like, the remainder of regular season. And now you just helped them get much better. I'm not surprised. I had a feeling that the Chiefs were going to get a receiver. I knew it was going to be Hopkins or Kupp, like Cooper Kupp. But, like, what are we doing at this point? Like, I don't even understand at this point. Like, how, like, I'm trying to think here. Let's see. So right now the Chiefs are what? I don't think they had their bye. I think they're 7-0, 7-0, 6-0, somewhere in there. They're undefeated without Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Isaiah Pacheco. And now you've gifted them DeAndre Hopkins, who is going to be one of the best receivers in the league with that offense that they have. It's just like, I don't know what more can you do. Like, in 2023, Hopkins had 1,000 receiving yards. Obviously, that's not been the case this year. Because Will Levis is not Patrick Mahomes. So, all right, last topic of the episode. Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin likely done for the season after exiting with a dislocated ankle. Really devastating news for Buccaneers fans. I mean, like, this is one of the, like, this was after losing Mike Evans. So, like, this is probably one of the worst things this is, like, the worst thing that could have happened. Like I said, you started off strong, fell off from there. I mean, The concerning thing is for Buccaneers fans is that Godwin is going to be a free agent in 2025. So that could have been his last game in Tampa Bay. I do not know that for sure, but the injury was so gruesome that the broadcast or ESPN refused to show the replay. And I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm not going to show it either because, I mean, I wanted, for some reason, I wanted to look at how Nick Chubb suffered his injury, and I regretted it as soon as I saw it. Like, so I'm not even gonna look at it. But I mean, the NFL is reviewing. Like, the NFL did fine Roquan Smith for making the tackle on Chris Godwin, $16,000. Honestly, I feel like he should have at least a 1-2 game suspension. I mean, $16,000 is a lot, but I feel like a season-ending injury to a receiver like him, I feel like you should fine him more than what he did. But that's just me. And I'm also a Bengals fan, so I don't like the Ravens at all. I don't like Roquan Smith either. So yeah, it was a hip drop tackle. He received a $16,000 fine for that. So, you know, I feel like they should at least give him a 1 or 2 game suspension. But that, like I said, that's just me, and I'm a Bengals fan. But yeah, unfortunate news for the Buccaneers. They will be without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin through the next 3 weeks. But Mike Evans will return week 12 after their bye, I believe. So, yeah, we'll see. But all right, it's time for quick hits. All right, we have a few this week. We have about 5 or so. I would guess, probably a little more than that. But they're quick. So, all right, Chiefs corner Jalen Watson. He's undergoing surgery on his ankle and is potentially out for the season. Unfortunately for the Chiefs. I mean, they've suffered so many injuries the past few years. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They have a massive injury bug. I mean, when Watson fractured his ankle in the Super Bowl rematch win, after imaging his ankle, it's possible he broke his fibula and tibia. So, that's not good news here. I'm going to look from over here. NFL suspends the Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams again. 2 games for violating the the league's PES policy. Last year, Williams had a 4-game suspension because he violated the NFL's gambling policy. What a shock. Williams will have to miss Detroit's Week 9 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Williams has had 6 suspensions in, a 4-year career, something like that. That's insane. I'm pretty sure he has more suspensions than he has touchdowns. I'm not even kidding. 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel hospitalized due to pneumonia, I think, and fluid in his lungs. Samuel played just 4 offensive snaps against Kansas City and was seen with an oxygen mask on the sideline. There is no timetable for when he will return. So after losing Aiyuk, kind of like the Buccaneers, you lose your top 2 receivers, and it's just unfortunate. So, you guys can suffer together if you'd like. Raiders quarterback Aiden O'Connell out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken thumb. Las Vegas placed him on IR. Commanders corner Kayvon Seymour suspended 6 games for violating the NFL's PES policy. Seymour is not allowed to play or practice with Washington until December 7th. So, wow. The most important games that Seymour will miss is against the Bears, Steelers, Eagles, and Cowboys. So you have 2 easy games while he's not there and 4 hard ones. The Browns to start Jameis Winston to give and also to give offensive play calling duties to Ken Dorsey. The Browns have not scored 20-plus points all season long. In fact, Cleveland's leading scorer is a veteran safety, Rodney McLeod, with 2 touchdowns. So that is a terrible and sad stat. The saddest stat of the year, I think. Robert Saleh seen at Packers practice. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur brought Saleh in to help with the offensive side. So that shocked me right there. I think I just said his coach, Matt LaFleur. I think he said since he's a defensive guy, he knows what the defense can do. So that way he knows what the offense can do to like ruin the defense or something like that. Seahawks trade linebackers Jerome Baker, a 4th-round pick, to the Titans for linebacker Ernest Jones IV. Ernest Jones IV generated 44 tackles and 2 passes defensed, while Jerome Baker generated 30 tackles and 1 sack. All right, last quick hit. Broncos wide receiver Josh Reynolds recovering from 2 gunshot wounds. Reynolds was shot last Friday. Reynolds was already dealing with a finger injury that had already put him on IR, so hopefully he's going to return kind of like Ricky Pearsall did last week. That was cool. Like he got his first NFL catch, and then he had a standing ovation. That was one of the coolest NFL moments I might have ever seen. So I thought that was super cool. But all right, reactions. We have a few. Let me find them here. So we're going to start off with a Bengals one, and this was 100% the play of the week. 100-yard kickoff return touchdown by the man himself, Charlie Jones, the GOAT. All right, I'm going to play it right now. All right, kickoff. It's the opening kickoff, guys. At the goal line, 100 yards on the dot. Guess once I saw him go through that gap, I was like, he could be gone here. I don't know what the kicker was trying to do. This breaks that tackle and then tiptoes down the sideline for the touchdown. That was insane. That was like a 12-second kickoff return. Opening kickoff, play of the week. Look, I thought he was going to be out of bounds right there, but he wasn't. Look at this. He leaps. His heel never touched the ground, and he leaps into the end zone. 100% the play of the week. There's not a better play than that. That was insane. I was speechless. I was like jumping up and down when I saw that happen. That was so cool. But all right, then we actually have another kick return, but it's not a kick return. It's actually a punt return. A 97-yard touchdown punt return by Parker Washington in London. Play it now. Well, this was insane. I mean, I guess across the pond. I mean, look at that. What a punt. That was an insane punt. And he just weaved through the gaps. And once he got past the punter, it was he was gone. It was right before halftime, which is huge. Does a George Pickens impression, if you want to call it that. But yeah, what a play for the that's what the Jaguars need right there. I mean, the Jaguars have been underperforming all year, and that's exactly what the Jaguars need to boost their confidence, not only in that game but for the rest of the year. I feel like what a play. That's insane. I didn't watch this live. Obviously, it was like 10 in the morning or something, so I was at church. But we have another one. It's actually. Let's see. I think it was Patrick Mahomes punched in the throat, I believe. I don't think I have that, but that happened last week. Last week it was punched in the throat. I was confused. I don't know why it happened, but I feel like the 49ers just do something dirty all the time. I don't know why. It could just be me, but I don't know. I don't think I have it. Yeah, I don't have it. I think after that, that's it. Justin Jefferson catch of the year. I will get that out at some point. But I don't have that either. And then also the absurd, whatever you want to call it, face mask. The missed face mask penalty. Like, the officiating is absolutely horrid. Like, it is the worst on planet Earth. There's no doubt about that. But all right, that is all for reactions. We're gonna go stardom, sit 'em. This episode is almost over. Don't worry, just hang in there. All right, stardom quarterbacks: Jordan Love at Jacksonville, Jared Goff at Tennessee, C.J. Stroud at Indianapolis, and Caleb Williams at Washington. Kirk Cousins at Tampa Bay. All right, sit them, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, I can't speak. Dak Prescott against the 49ers, Anthony Richardson against the Texans, Patrick Mahomes against the Raiders, Justin Herbert against the Saints, and that is all for quarterbacks. And we're going to go into running backs, all right? I will get to my fantasy team for the Deacon Talk Fantasy League in a bit. Start Devin Achane against the Cardinals and Josh Jacobs against the Jaguars, DeAndre Swift against the Commanders, J.K. Dobbins against the Saints, Javonte Williams against the Panthers, and Kareem Hunt against the Raiders 100%. Sit Nick Chubb against the Ravens, Alexander Mattison against the Chiefs, Austin Eckler against the Bears, Zach Moss against the Eagles. I agree with that. He's been underperforming. Chase Brown is going to take his spot. And Evan Singletary against the Steelers. Wide receivers. All right. We're going into wide receivers. Start Brian Thomas Jr. against the Packers, George Pickens against the Giants, Amari Cooper, the Bills receiver against the Seahawks, the new Bills receiver, Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs at the Jaguars, Zay Flowers against the Browns, and Darnell Mooney against the Buccaneers. Sit Deontay Johnson against the Broncos, Christian Kirk at the Packers, or versus the Packers, Michael Pittman against the Texans, Xavier Worthy against the Raiders, Courtland Sutton against the Panthers. So that's all for wide receivers. All right, tight ends. All right, we're almost done. We have tight ends, kickers, and defenses after that. Start Kyle Pitts against the Buccaneers, David Njoku against the Ravens, Evan Ingram against the Packers, Dalton Kincaid against the Seahawks, Tucker Kraft against the Jaguars. Sit Pat Freiermuth against the Giants, sit Dalton Schultz against the Colts, Isaiah Likely against the Browns, and Tyler Conklin against the Patriots, and Chigozium Okonkwo, I believe, against the Lions. So, all right, kickers. Two more after that. Kickers and defenses. All right, start Kayami Fairbairn against the Colts, Younghoe Koo against the Buccaneers, Chase McLaughlin against the Falcons, Austin Seibert against the Bears, Will Lutz against the Panthers, sit Evan McPherson, I should probably take notes, against the Eagles, Tyler Bass against the Seahawks, Dustin Hopkins against the Ravens, Joshua Carty against the Vikings, and Greg Joseph against the Steelers. Oh, yeah, he's been like a chance to make a 7-point game against the Bengals in Week 6, and he blew it. He missed the field goal. He missed like 2, I think. So, yeah, 100%. Defenses. Start the Steelers' defense against the Giants. Start the Ravens' defense against the Browns. Chargers' defense against the Saints. Chiefs' defense against the Raiders. Broncos' defense against the Panthers. And Lions' defense against the Titans. Sit the Browns' defense against the Ravens. The Seahawks' defense against the Bills. Cowboys' defense against the 49ers. Eagles' defense against the Bengals. I would say sit the Bengals and Eagles' defenses for sure. And last but not least, sit the Bears' defense against the Commanders. That's all for Stardom Sit-Up. And as for the DNT Fantasy League, I'm honestly disappointed because I have 2 fantasy leagues. In the Deacon Talk one, I'm 4-3, and the other one I'm 6-1. I don't know what's happening with me. I'm 4th in the league, 4th best in the league. And I believe I'm 3rd in the division. And if I beat CMC Prods and Cannonball loses, then I'm in 1st place in the division. I'm currently beating CMC Prods 22.60-0. So I'm looking pretty good. Kyron Williams is carrying so far. He had 97 rushing yards, 5 receptions for 19 yards, and a touchdown. But yeah. So that is all for fantasy. We're going to go to the question of the week really quickly. When will Christian McCaffrey return? And And Michael, I honestly do not know. I heard Kyle Shanahan said possibly week 10, but I honestly have no idea when he's gonna return. We'll see what happens with Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, he's like, I don't even like, I can't remember what happened, but like they need him. I mean, there's one hot take that one of my viewers made, which is there's actually a video coming out about that offseason hot takes. Just spoiler alert. There's actually one where he said, I forget who said this, but Christian McCaffrey was going to be Offensive Player of the Year for back-to-back years, and I just said, no. Like, you miss, 8 weeks, and it's not good. I mean, it's not looking good for McCaffrey. And guess what? You know why he's injured? It's because of the Madden curse. Guess who's on the Madden cover this year? I wonder who it is. But, yeah, the answer to the question of the week, I honestly don't know at this point. Kyle Shanahan has been giving us he's been getting more info about it, but I don't even know what's, the 49ers need him. It's completely obvious, but. All right, that was the episode. No quizzes for the first month. Obviously, I'm still getting back in the groove from vacation. So, I'm still getting slow. I'm still behind on a bunch of stuff. So, we're going to start that next month. So, okay, well, I guess next week we should start that again, I believe. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed, hit the like, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Get notified of every single update this channel makes. Check out last week's episode 31. Highly suggest you guys check that one out, and I'll see you guys next week for another great episode on Deacon's NFL Talk. Have a good one.